Andrews, you may start when you're ready.
Can you hear me? Okay. Meeting will come to order for the Arts Commission for October 20th. Meeting is starting at 7:03.
Before we get started, I need to have a check on see if Commissioner Andrews, you said the sound was cutting out a little bit for you. Is that better now that we're actually talking consistently?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
And I just want to welcome Mayor McGriff here, and thank you, Commissioner Andrews, for joining us on Zoom. And Dan, would you take attendance, please?
Yes. Commissioner Andrews.
Here.
Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner Carlson. She has notified us that she may be a little bit late or coming online. Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Lugo.
Here.
Commissioner Wilson.
Here.
Commissioner Woodward.
Here.
We have quorum.
We'll start with the September minutes that were sent out. Does anyone have any revisions, any comments, any additions? Online, Commissioner Andrews, anything? No.
Thank you, Mayor.
Any other commissioners? Nope. So the draft of the minutes that were sent to us, unless there are no corrections, stand approved as distributed. So our first order of business is a presentation from Diane Alves from Clackamas County Arts Alliance. Thank you so much for coming. We look forward to your presentation.
Yes, please.
Seems so official.
So thank you to all the commissioners of the Arts Commission and Mayor McGriff, who was here a minute ago, so hopefully she's still here, for inviting us to come and make a presentation to you all. What you are seeing is something I'll talk about in just a minute. But first of all, I wanted to let you know that the Clackamas County Arts Alliance has been around for 28 years. We started originally as part of the county, and then about 7 or 8 years after that, we spun off and did our own nonprofit. And we have been participating, and what we like to say is our keeping arts and culture central to life in all of Clackamas County since then. We have spent since about January of this year, we're doing a rebrand, a new logo and a new website you'll see in about a week and a half. Before the end of the month, you'll see that. So I brought some examples of that today, just so you could see it. Here's our new logo that you're gonna be seeing all over. It says Clackamas Arts Alliance, Arts and Cultural Central to Life. It's colorful. Our last thing that we had was just black and white and gray. And so it talks about, there's a couple different reasons. When we did, if you've ever done a rebrand with a nonprofit, we talked about all kinds of words that come up when we talk about the Arts Alliance and what we are. And so one of the things that came up was that we are an advocate and a celebration for all the arts and culture. So one of the things that started to come out of that was this megaphone design. So you'll see actually our logo is that megaphone design, and you'll see that in lots of other places on our website. So that we are a spokesperson and a convener and all those great things for arts. So you can go ahead and go, Daniel, to the next piece, and I'll talk about that. What you'll see on the website is a little bit different than this, but if you've ever looked at our old website, it definitely looks a lot different than what you're gonna see in these 3 slides that I brought for you today. Mostly, I'll tell you what we did in our rebrand was we talked about how best can we serve the county? There's lots of amazing arts and culture activities that are going on, and what are the ways we can best serve that? We don't need to recreate something. We don't need to do anything but build upon that. So we came up with three things. We are a champion, we're an advocate, and we're a connector. And because we're an alliance, we're going to ask people to join us even more in those efforts than we have before. So as a champion, we're supporting creative and cultural organizations. We're providing the path to opportunities and experiences in order for them to both connect with the community and the community connect with them. We're an advocate. We're a strong voice for Clackamas County arts and culture, the community in ensuring representation to local, regional conversations that are happening. And I'll talk about a couple of those that we've really launched into over this past year. And really highlighting what's going on in Clackamas County, which we felt for many years has been kind of underrepresented in this area. You know, we know Multnomah and Washington counties get a lot more visibility in arts and culture. And so one of our things that we're really looking at is how can we really elevate Clackamas as an equal player in those three. We're a connector. We know that arts organizations and events generate over $14.8 million in the county, and we want to build bridges between arts and culture, local businesses, and government in order to really highlight arts and culture as an economic driver. And that is one of our big focuses this next year specifically. So we have, if you've ever connected with Clackamas County Arts Alliance, we have sort of that overall vision that we have for the organization. We actually run two very specific programs. The Artist Exhibit Program, where we're allowing local artists to exhibit in over 17 galleries throughout the county, both in fine arts as well as we have 2 3D cabinets, so folks that do fabric art or other kinds of visual arts, we can have them participate in that effort also. We change out those galleries 3 to 4 times a year, so we're working at any given time with up to 60 artists a year. Every year we try to include new artists into that group. We have some returning artists that join us for that. But that is only going to increase as some of the newer buildings come online. We're working with some of the new libraries and community buildings that are happening, as well as the courthouse, to include some spaces for artists. We also have our Youth Arts for Change program, which is where we're actually teaching art to underserved or kids who normally wouldn't have direct art exposure. So we are currently in 4 of the Todos Untos programs. We're in Estacada and Sandy, Molalla and Canby doing after-school programming with arts. And if you have, between now and the end of the month, if you go over to the Development Services building where the commissioners meet, we have this amazing art thing I want to highlight for you to go by and look at. Right when you come in to sign in, there's a gallery for the Youth Arts for Change program, where over the summer we had the kids focus on COVID and what COVID has meant to them, and in good and bad ways. And so there's this amazing COVID display that's out right now, and they've used poetry and their own drawings and lots of stuff to talk about COVID and help them process COVID. So I'd have you go and take a look at that. Beyond that, like, what else do we do? We do a lot of things. We also are the fiscal sponsor for the Clackamas County Cultural Coalition. Cultural coalitions around the counties, around the state, give out grants. We specifically don't do that. The Arts Alliance does not. We let the Cultural Coalition do that. But we are their fiscal agent. So if you apply for a grant, you'll probably get information from us. We'll help you apply for the grant if you need to. We help you walk through that process. And then you'll get the check from us too, because we're the fiscal sponsor. Right now, in fact, if you are part of a nonprofit, we encourage you to apply. We just extended the deadline because we need more applications for the dollars. So you have until the 7th to apply for Cultural Coalition. This year, the Cultural Coalition actually has more money to give away in grants than they ever have. So if you know folks that need to apply, They have a couple of weeks more to do that. We just extended from, the deadline was tomorrow, but we extended to the 7th. So please, please apply for those grants. We're also this year, beyond taking on the rebrand, who we are, where are we going conversation, we also decided to be the leader in Clackamas County for something that's called the Arts and Economic Prosperity Report, which is part of what comes from Americans for the Arts. Americans for the Arts every 5 years, and with COVID skipped a couple of years, so it'll be 7 this year, does a nationwide survey and shows what arts and culture do as an economic driver in the county. So we are the Clackamas County coordinators for that, and so we're gathering surveys currently from individuals who are attending events and asking them to join us in that effort to really show how much of an economic driver arts and culture is. I'm super excited about that because I think for the first time, we're gonna have a really good idea about how 7 years ago, what the county looked like, and now. And I'll tell you, I think it's gonna be a much different sort of scenario just by what we've seen going on in the county. So we're super excited about that. We'll gather surveys in lots of different ways between now and the end of April. They'll produce that program, so about this time next year, we'll have this really great report that not only includes the statewide stuff for Oregon, but Clackamas County will have its own report specifically. And so if you want to look at old reports, we have some of those, and you can look at the last AEP 5. But we're super excited about being the driver of that and helping coordinate those efforts. The other thing, which is kind of new, is we started, oh my gosh, I'm gonna say like in May now, with it's currently called the Tri-County Arts and Culture Plan. And that is, several years ago, the city of Portland decided to do Arts and Culture Plan, which included the city of Portland and sort of the metro region, and that's how we got RAC. If people know about RAC, it's the Regional Arts and Culture Plan, Arts and Culture Commission. They have for years operated that way. So early in the spring, the city of Portland actually asked, maybe it's time to like do a whole new plan, not just update the old plan, but do a whole new plan. So when I was asked to give feedback about that, I said, you know, I think it would be great if instead of just carving out for Clackamas County, carving out the metro region, so only organizations or individuals could apply that were in that metro guideline. I'd love to include the whole county. Let's include, if we're gonna redo a plan, let's include the whole county in that and have them be able to participate. So I am currently the lone voice for Clackamas County in a Tri-County Arts and Culture Plan. We're doing a whole new plan. We've hired a firm to help us in order to do this plan. So there are representatives of Clackamas, Multnomah, Washington counties, as well as the city of Portland, Hillsborough, Beaverton, and then some metro folks, as well as the Regional Arts and Culture Council representatives. And so currently we're about 19 folks in that sort of leadership. We're now building the steering committee, which are made up of 5 representatives from each county, as well as a couple of folks that cross county lines because they work on different projects. So there'll be about 20 folks on what's called the steering committee. To me, those folks are the really important people. So I've specifically reached out to people who, for us, for Clackamas County to be representatives, that they cross they cover multiple areas. So for instance, I have an artist that also operates a business that also employs other artists. So there's a couple of different things going on there. So we have 4 of our 5 people committed, which is super exciting. And then on November 1st, the cultural planning group, which is the folks that the 3 counties hired in order to do this plan, they're coming to town and they're gonna they wanna meet with elected officials. So I've reached out to several elected officials, including the mayor, to see if they can meet with us that day in order to start to talk about sort of the political climate of how arts and culture fit in and how much, I think they're trying to get an idea about what's already going on and what kind of appetite there is in order to support more work in that area. So we're super excited. That is also happening at the same time. That plan will be done about this time next year. And so between the artist economic work that we're doing with Americans for the Arts and this plan, and I know you all are doing a survey too, with all that stuff combined, we should have a really good idea about what's needed in the county, what kind of support there is in the county, Oregon City, what kind of support there is there, and how we can all work together. So we're super excited about those things. I don't know, that might be everything I had to say to you. I know that was really fast and deep, and we're super excited about where we're going in the future and working with all the different cities and the counties in order to get there. A lot of the commissions have been reinvigorated, and so we're super excited to have you all join us in that effort, and how we can work with you and how we can share information, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if you have questions for me, but.
Do you have any tribal representation on the Tri-County Committee?
We have tribal representation in that there's two sections. One is we have tribal representation on the bigger steering committee, yes. And we also have set aside very specific meetings outside of the steering committee to meet with, especially like Grand Ronde and some of the tribal members. Yeah, that is a big focus for us, absolutely.
I have 3 questions. Okay, I have 3 questions. So my first question is,
Yeah.
what does the Regional Art and Culture Council do?
The Regional Arts and Culture Council has, in the past, given like support to arts and culture groups, right? They also have, they give grants out to individual artists, as well as they have educational things that they do. They're the folks, if you live in the city of Portland, they gather the $35 art tax, and that goes out to the school districts to support arts and culture in the schools, but only in that area. And so, yeah, they do lots of different things in supporting arts and culture, but the thing that's super exciting to me about this new plan is that we won't have that metro cutout anymore. It's all of Clackamas County and all of Washington County. And so I think for the first time, at least since that I know about, we're an equal player in the 3 counties, which I think is really exciting.
So my next question, for the groups that would be eligible for the grant that's been extended until November 7th, what kind of groups specifically are you looking for to apply? Could you talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, those are arts and culture groups that are doing those grants are for project-related activities. So if you're putting on an event or a fair or an art show, or trying to think of examples of things. There's lots of folks right now are doing like sculpture gardens and things like that. Anything arts and culture related. And if people have an individual question about that, they can reach out to me and ask me. But actually on the Cultural Coalition website, there's a really good list of like all the things that they do fund versus not. So that's probably the best way.
And my last question, where are some of the places that maybe people here in Oregon City would recognize that artists exhibit in among the 17 galleries or so?
Yeah. So we're in almost all the county buildings, and in fact, we have 3 to 4 galleries in all the county buildings right now, depending on which building you're in. We're in the hospitals, libraries, and like I said, we're coming into some of the new buildings that are being built too. So we have 17 galleries with between oh gosh, I can't tell you all of them at the moment. So there's like a couple of libraries. There's like Beaver Creek. I think actually we're right here in this building, right here. You can see the artwork, but we're on the 2nd floor or something. So you have to.
There's some on the 2nd floor, and then there's some in the entry lobby.
Yeah, in the entryway. And we have, especially we have 3 galleries, 3 galleries in both of if you go up to Red Soils in those county buildings up there, we have 3 galleries in each of those buildings. So 6 galleries up there. So Yeah.
I do have one last question. So one of the things that we've talked a little bit about in the Arts Commission in the last year has been getting involved in accessing art opportunities with the new courthouse.
Yeah, yeah.
How would the Oregon City Arts Commission access those resources?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to work together on that to see what we could do with that. There's lots of conversations happening about that. I mean, obviously the courthouse is not, broke ground on it. So that's a ways down the road, but there's, what we do with our artist exhibit program is that we would talk to the county and say, okay, what are the walls that make sense? And just like we did at the other buildings, what makes the most sense? I think there's a huge opportunity for purchased art, so introducing artists and holding those spaces for artists. I don't know, because I've seen a couple different renditions of the courthouse. I don't know if there's a space for, art that would happen in outdoor spaces. So I think there's lots of ways as we start to get closer to keep in close contact and work together on making sure that arts are really represented there. I don't want that to be left out. And the county, as you know, does not have a percent for arts, and like some of the other counties around the state do. And so we'd love to make sure that it's built into the budget. That's how some of like Oak Grove is doing that into their spaces, actually built into the budget, and we're helping them with that. So I think we could coordinate on that for sure. I think that'd be great to make sure there's art there. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The project that you did with the children's program, what was the process? Did you work with the schools for that? Who did you contact to be able to get children involved?
Yeah, so we work with the Todos Juntos program, which is an after-school program in each of those areas. I think we started originally, gosh, I don't even know, maybe it was Canby or Malala we started with, and then once we had had done a couple of classes, then the Todos Juntos in Sandy was like, hey, we hear you're teaching here, so will you come up to Sandy and teach? And we're like, sure. And then Estacada did the same thing. So I think it's just starting with Todos Juntos and then spreading
Could you
that.
spell that? I'm not familiar with that.
Todos, Todos, and then Juntos. Todos Juntos.
TODOSJUNTS.
TOS.
Okay.
Juntos.
Yeah.
JUNTOS.
Thank you. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Just think of how to start a children's
Yeah, we're super
program.
excited. And one of the great things we're doing, the other piece of that is we're working with the boys at Parrot Creek. And a lot of those, we've been teaching up there for quite a while. And a lot of those boys are deficient in their credits. And so this last fall, we were like, what if we could create a for-credit photography class or something? So not only are they taking the art class and really doing some really amazing work, but they also get credit for it. So now we're doing credit classes up there too, which has been pretty amazing.
And is that organization strong in Oregon City?
Yeah, it's actually south. I don't know if you, I don't know exactly, I can't tell you exactly the address, but turned around, it's down there.
That's not.
Yeah, it's up there.
Yeah.
But it's really an amazing program, and so they have boys in residential care, and so it's a really great way for them to. We just did this photo book of all their photos that they did over the summer, and put it together in a really nice, it's like a coffee table book, and it's like, yeah, it's really amazing. So. I mean, as we know, arts are a way to express what's going on in your life and how to deal with it and how to cope with it and all those wonderful things. And so those young men are really amazing photographers at the moment. So, and then we got a whole bunch of cameras donated. So now they're going to do camera versus, because most of them walk around with iPads and things taking pictures. So they'll be able to experiment with both of those things.
Where are you located? Do you actually have a physical space?
Good question. We used to be located, and then right before COVID, we were located. The last location we had was with tourism, and then tourism right around COVID time. Right before COVID, we moved out of tourism, and we're going to do something different. And then there was COVID, so we're all remote at the moment, and so we are looking for not a lot of space, but as can attest, we'd love to have a space where we are located, mostly because we all have stuff at our houses. Like I have boxes of historical documents for us at my house. And so it'd be great to have a little bit of place, plus a place to meet, like, hey, come join me at the office or whatever. I mean, it works out great to meet for coffee somewhere, but it would be nice to have a space. But there's some really exciting stuff happening between Milwaukee and here and lots of different stuff, so.
Commissioner,
Keep putting the word out.
Commissioner Andrus has a question.
Oh, yeah.
Or a comment, or question.
Commissioner Andrews?
Thank you. I appreciate this information. I've been checking out your website as you've been talking. I was curious if you work with any art therapists in the Youth for Change project, or do you consult with any art therapists in that work?
Yes, absolutely. And then we also have the person who teaches those classes right now has a really good background in that. And so that's what she's been doing. The great thing about how we're expanding that program is we're going to actually have to, as we come into this spring we're going to have to expand and add a few more teachers. So we will be looking for more folks. We've had to do that this last summer. We added a couple teachers during the summer because we had so much work. So we're going to be doing more of that. But we definitely, the curriculum that we have built is based on the work that we've done with art therapists and other folks, including Lisa, who does that program. So yeah, absolutely. And I'm sorry, I'm going to apologize for our old website. If you're looking at our old website, we're not doing anything, so pieces are broken. And so for the last couple of weeks, we're ignoring that old website, and it'll say under construction or something. But yeah, the 28th or 29th, you'll see the new website.
Just to clarify, is Lisa the one that I would talk to about the work that they're doing with youth?
Yes. Yeah, Lisa Smith, if you want to reach out to her, she absolutely can answer your questions. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, she's the program manager.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Anybody have any other questions? Any comments?
I was just thinking as you were talking about the office space with this new tri-county collaboration, maybe there's some sort of tri-county office space that could happen.
Yeah, you know, our partners in Washington County are really amazing. If you've not really dealt with them, they're really amazing folks over there at Tualatin Valley Creates. That's our sister organization, Washington County. They're working with a group of folks that have space, and obviously Multnomah County folks have space. The interesting thing that is coming up in our early conversations is, and this will play into what you're all thinking about too, is do we have to replicate the same things in every county? So, you know, there's the RESER in Washington County. Do we have to have a RESER in Clackamas County? And if not a RESER, maybe you go there for certain kinds of things. And then what is missing that Clackamas County could do, right? So,
Sorry, what is a RESER?
the RESER is their new performance space that's in Washington County, if you've ever, it's a beautiful new performance space. But so maybe organizations from here, if you want to do performances at that level, you rent out the RESER and do it there. But then maybe people from Washington County are coming to Clackamas County for something different. So the cool thing about this tri-county plan is that not only are we looking at where are the gaps in the deserts, like what could Clackamas County do that would bring people to Clackamas County to really elevate it? That's not just a repeat of what's happening in other counties.
I mean, what are, I'm thinking like, well, they've got the High Rocks and we've got like Mount Hood. I don't know. I'm just thinking, I just can't think of anything.
Right. Well, it's interesting because I think
we've
what
got
I
all
hear, we have,
historical
at the Arts Alliance, we have different committees that we've reached out to, and so different people around the community are participating in those committees. And what we hear from the Performing Arts Committee all the time is there's no space to perform here. There's no performance space. If I'm a symphony or an orchestra, there's no performance space in Clackamas County. And I'm saying, maybe you have to rethink that. I know you're like the Milwaukee whatever, but if there's not a space to perform in Milwaukee, what if you went over somewhere else to perform, and drew people over to that space, or actually got new audience members because you're in a different space. Because I think we're in this climate, I think we have to think outside the box a little bit and figure out who can, where are the resources and what's the best use of those resources, and how
I
can
guess
we,
That's what I'm wondering is what would people come to Clackamas County to
well,
do?
that's what we're gonna find out, right? That's what we're gonna find out, I think. I think there could be definitely here a space where folks had a little bit more room, but not at the level of the Reeser. So if you wanted to have that kind of performance space, you'd go there, but there's something else here. Tammy Jo has a question.
It's an interesting concept, but I find it a little bit concerning about it redirecting away from the assets that we do have here, like the theater in
Right,
Milwaukee
right,
that is
yeah.
growing and just expanded.
Beautiful,
Shuffle
yeah,
Theater and
yeah.
Art in Oregon, and our art show is just on the cover of the paper.
Yeah.
And so it just, to me, it's a little concerning of like, well, let's redirect our focus and send Clackamas to a different county.
Yeah, no.
So
I
that-
want to take advantage of those things we have here. I think people in Washington County don't know about
Right.
Chapel Theater, and so what can we do in order to elevate that, to get people to come here for that, bring their stuff here, come across the river to do that. I want to elevate those things. Art in Oregon is the same way. I think people always have discounted Clackamas County, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but they always go, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Clackamas County. And I want to elevate that to a place where people are like, did you know there's this really cool blah, 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 blah. I talk about, I mean, just the art galleries that are in Clackamas County that people know nothing about, that are doing classes and highlighting the art of Clackamas County artists. We have some amazing artists that live in this county. And I think people just don't, they always think about, oh, if I'm going to purchase art, I'm going to go to Portland and do that. I want them to think about coming to Clackamas County and working with the artists here,
I guess
buying the art here.
I guess my concern is Clackamas County is so large that expecting anybody beyond Oregon City to go to Beaverton or even
Right,
Portland,
right.
when that would not necessarily, they wouldn't do that per se.
That's right.
And they would be more likely to go the other direction, to bring in those rural communities that are not going to be drawn to go into Portland or Beaverton.
Right, I think
and then
that's
if you
right.
don't invest in Clackamas County in that way, because somebody else in the metro area is doing that, to me, that would be a concern.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I don't think that's I'm not necessarily concerned about that. I just want to take a look at it. Are there ways, especially with Washington County, because we're close enough to Washington County, to go back and forth across, to figure out if there's a way that we don't have to totally replicate everything, and
Yeah.
what could be cool here. Like, I don't think we have to have a ballet here, right? Maybe in the future we could have a ballet, but right now we don't have to. But what is it that's unique about what we're doing here that we could really highlight and put some investment into?
And what could we do here that isn't being done yet?
Right, that's exactly right.
Regionally.
Right.
I mean,
And
what-
actually part of this arts and culture planning I think will really highlight that. I'm super excited about that.
Mayor McGriff is.
Oh,
Mayor McGriff?
Hi, hi Diane. Anyway, you asked what we could do. Well, we used to have a mural walk, and we could do. I know Estacada has one, but we had one before they did. But that could be resurrected. We could do open studios or combine a walk, a walk with looking at some of our historic properties with art. You know, that could be portable and placed out in. You know, the front yard or the side yard of some of our historic properties, because
Yeah.
we can combine the two things. Something that Lake Oswego does, which I would love to see us do, is art outdoors. You know, you have a walking tour where you look at the pieces that we're going to put back, because I see you have that on your agenda.
Yeah.
The one at 7th and Center, but we have other art pieces, and, you know, I don't even know if our residents know about those things.
right.
So,
Yeah,
just some ideas.
no, I think that's great. Those are things that have come up in our conversations. The other thing about the new website that you'll see that we're super excited about is that we have a map on the new website, that if you're like, where are the theaters? You can select by theater and show where the theaters are in Clackamas County, where are the arts galleries, and where's the public art? Because around this county, there's amazing public art that people don't even know about, and new public art coming on, which is super exciting. Like there's the new park down by the river, and they're working with the Confederated tribes to do when the herons are migrating, they'll bring herons in and they'll leave them in the park, and when the migration is, they'll come and get the herons and take them back out, and there's a whole story about that. So there's amazing public art like that going on, especially around Oregon City. Near Oregon City, there's lots of things. So we're super excited about it. One of the questions that Daniel asked me to ask you all is, how could we work together? And I think you all are doing amazing work, and we want to join you in that effort. We want to help in ways that we can help if we want to. We want to elevate it, and we also want to ask you to join us in, especially this Tri-County Arts and Culture Planning. Trieste is part of the steering committee. We're going to have 5 representatives of that, and I really, that kind of conversation and input is going to be really important as we move forward with this. Tammy Jo, those questions that you asked, it's the reason why I asked you to be part of that committee, honestly. It's like, those are the questions that need to be asked all the time about this county. And that's at a different level than I'm at. And so having the right people in the room to ask those questions is really important. I, on purpose, because of the timing and everything around, I asked the mayor to join us on November 1st, if she can, for an hour, and have a conversation with those leaders and give her input and talk about the things that you all are doing here to elevate Oregon City in this effort. So those are the ways we can work best together, especially over this next year with all these things going on. So I'm super excited about it. I am not afraid of having input and people saying, what about, and not this, but that, and all that kind of stuff. That's how we come up with a really good plan. And then we get to figure out how we want to implement all those really great ideas. So, yeah.
I think my first question as soon as I saw you is, what's the representation for Clackamas?
Yeah.
Because I feel the same way, that Clackamas gets forgotten for funding, for money out there, and it would be wonderful to have some strong voices that speak for Clackamas County for an art and cultural focus.
Yeah, and as well, Trieste will know, she knows a little bit about me. I am not shy when it comes to these things, and so both on the state level with the Oregon Arts Commission and folks like that, I've just been like, no, that's not okay. No, that funding structure is not okay. No, we need our share of money. No, we're gonna, and it's the same thing with this, the first original group that kind of was nominated, I was like, there's one person from Clackamas County. That's not okay. If there's 5 from Multnomah and 5 from Washington County, there will be 5 from Clackamas County. So I'm happy to do that because I agree. I mean, I think we have to, this is one of those rare opportunities where I think we have just an opportunity to really come into the space and own it at the same level as the other counties. So, yeah.
I think there's been a lot of discussion even within the Art Commission of all kinds of ideas and things that we can do. And the second question is always, where do we get the funding? Where can we get the funding? And I'm hoping with the steering committee that there's going to be a lot of support for that. That this is ways and means of how you can actually carry out plans.
Yeah, I think, I think, Clackamas County has some challenges around that, but I think we also have, we have a lot of folks that want to participate and want to be part of it and be part of the change. And I think that Arts and Economic Prosperity report will show that how much we've risen as an economic driver, and then it's going to be hard to keep ignoring the fact that I think in this Tri-County thing, if we can also talk about the fact that each city, because, this is what Washington County did that's made them a little ahead of the game at the moment, which is each of those cities have decided to do a percentage for arts. So each time they do something, they've got 1% or 2%. So that's something we're willing to really help and back up. If cities want to do that, we're willing to help that.
What cities locally, like in Clackamas County, have done % for art? None. Okay.
I'll tell you what's happening in a couple of the projects we're working on now is they're just building it into the project. So the city itself doesn't have, like Gladstone doesn't have a 1%, or Oak Grove doesn't have a 1%. But when they build the building, they're saying we have to have art included in that. And so how much of the budget is gonna be that? And so we're working with them to try to figure out, how much money you're gonna need for permanent installation for art, in a outdoor garden or something like that, and how much money you're gonna have for rotating art, and figure that out.
I've been in talks with Summit Development, with Seth, and some with Eileen, and they have that. That's a long way off. That's a long way before getting all the final approval, but they already have.
Yeah.
It budgeted for 8 murals and
Yeah.
all kinds of sculptures and all kinds of art all through that development, which
yeah.
is really exciting.
Yeah.
And they want to focus on local artists from Oregon City.
Yeah. And then, Happy Valley, if you've talked to the folks at Happy Valley, they're doing 2 more projects around art. They have a Veterans Memorial they're doing where they're commissioning an artist to do a whole Veterans Memorial. They've got their sculpture garden going already, and they have a new project they're gonna kick off. So whatever's happening in Happy Valley is a good conversation to have too, and find out how they're doing that, setting that money aside.
Is there any conversation going on with ODOT and the engineers around the construction of the Abernathy Bridge to do some sort of public art component as part of that construction?
I have not had any conversations about that. The last conversation I had around a road was on Malala, where they were doing, up by the post office, where doing that stuff, and they did the little banner. And they wanted to know if there was an artist that could do that metal structure, to decorate the metal structure, and then I think they ran out of money, but they have the banner still, they can put the banner across the road, but that's the last piece of that kind of conversation I've had. No.
Anyone else? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing presentation.
pleasure.
And
And at the end of the month, please, especially Mary, the Commissioner Andrus, who's looking at our old website, please, at November 1st-ish, 2nd-ish, please go to our new website and check it out. If you don't see something on there on the map that you want, please let us know that and we'll add it to the map. If you have an organization that's not identified somehow, we have a new calendar that we're super excited about, where you load your own event that's coming up, and we go ching and it loads. And there's lots of different ways that we're super excited about the new website. We've spent way too many months working on it, so.
And Commissioner Wilson, did you have one more comment or something?
Oh, I was just gonna ask if you were staying till the end of the meeting.
I'm happy to stay, yeah, if you want me to stay, yeah, happy to stay. Thank you for asking me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
you.
Before we move forward, I need to do a couple little housekeeping things. First of all, Commissioner Carlson has arrived, and she arrived midway through that. We also need to clean up a little bit of a process part, and that is when we do the approval of the minutes, we need to actually do motion and second, and go with that part. And then we also need to do the public comment section before we move forward.
And it was my understanding if there are no revisions, you can accept it as presented with no, but do you have to actually take
The clarification is that we need to actually make the move and a second, and then we can do a poll. We don't have to do a down the.
Sure.
the
Okay, I'll make a note of that for next time.
So we actually probably need to go ahead and do that first
Sure.
before we move forward.
Yeah. So we did agree on the minutes, but if we can go one by one.
I move to accept the minutes.
Thank you.
I second. All those in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye. Aye.
Commissioner
Anyone
Andrus,
against?
I think I saw her hand.
Yeah.
And then Commissioner Carlson.
You need to have a second on your motion.
We did.
Second.
We did.
We had a move and a second.
Yeah, well, I couldn't hear them, so
Sorry.
Okay.
want to make sure you keep it all on the up and up.
Right.
I would recommend everyone just move a little bit closer to the microphone, or move the microphone towards you a little bit more. We are having a little bit of a sound pickup problem It could be the owl, which a lot of people don't know that is
so
what it is.
Cool. You got that.
We've got a little couple quirky things. It really likes Jen Woodward a lot, and it won't seem to shift away from her even when anyone else is speaking. I think it's just a placement thing, and we'll work on trying to fine tune it, but it means I don't have to move the little shaky camera and everything. And again, new technology, you gotta work all the kinks out. There is no public or requesting any comments unless Mayor McGriff would like to make a statement. I mean, she's the only public in the mix, so no, she shakes her head no.
No public
So
comments?
now we can.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not the public.
You're the mayor.
I wish I was the public, but I'm not.
So with no public comments, the minutes have been accepted. We are moving on. The next discussion item is process for the art commissioner appointments, reappointments, that is coming up soon. So we do have a staff report on that, if everybody had a chance to look at that.
So real quick, the executive summary basically says that we have 3 arts commissioners' terms that are coming to the end on December 31st. Those 3 arts commissioners who would like to extend those terms could reapply. The process started in September, so applications are available at this time. And that you need to probably do it before I believe the 16th of November, so that I have all the applications in hand when we have our next Arts Commission meeting, which would be arranging for interviews for that meeting, so that we can then have those recommendations available before the December 21st commission meeting, which is the last commission meeting before they go into recess.
So just to clarify, Dan, so you will need notice for anybody that does not want to extend, and then you're also going to have candidates before that November meeting?
Yeah, that way we'll know exactly. I mean, we'll have as many candidates that will apply, because then this is a great way to create a pool of candidates. So the next year we could you showed interest last year. Would you be interested in coming back? I think it's really kind of a politeness thing, is that they just notify the chair, and then the chair will notify me of how many people have said that they are or are not renewing. If they are, I'll see an application, of course, but if they are not, rather than bringing it in the meeting and making it a little awkward or anything for anyone, we don't want that. So just do it offline, and she'll notify me.
And do you have any applications yet for Arts Commission?
There's actually no applications for Arts Commission at this moment. So I know the last meeting, commissioners had mentioned a couple times that they had potentials that they might want to recommend to put in those applications as soon as possible. And so, yeah.
Is there any process or anything I should know about as far as recruiting people in the community to submit an application?
No, the link for the link to apply is in your staff report, so just send them to that page.
Okay. No other things I should know? Okay.
No, because until I know for sure how many commissioners are, the way the structure is that we have arts-related commissioners, and then we have 2 public commissioners that are not related to the arts, but they sit on that. They would then decide if that helps me define how many more we still need to replace in the commission.
The mayor has.
Yeah. Mayor McGriff. Thank you for catching that.
I just wanted to say that I don't know when you're planning on scheduling your potential interviews, but let me know and I will try to attend those. I find at this point in time it's better for me, rather than watching a video later, which is what I did for Prac, because I couldn't attend their interviews. They had it on the same day we had a commission meeting, which didn't really help. So I will participate as much as I possibly can if you give me some notice about when that might be.
That date will be November 17th, Arts Commission meeting. Same time,
Are you
7
going to
o'clock.
do it a little earlier before the meeting starts?
Actually, the way the Arts Commission's time is 7 o'clock is the best for them to start.
Well, I know sometimes some of the commissions, they'll meet like a half an hour ahead of time and do the interviews, and then they'll go into their regular meeting, but however you're going to do it, so.
That would be,
Okay, I will put that down on my calendar.
I think we'd have to check with the commissioners to see if we could even get here in time for that, for everybody.
Yeah, well, whatever you decide to do, 7 o'clock works, but, yeah, it depends on when people meet, so I will try to make myself available so I can participate with you, it'd be a lot simpler.
A couple communication pieces that we will do from the staff side is that we will coordinate with the library services. Right now is covering, we're down a communications person. So they will make sure that it gets posted on their Facebook page, which does get a lot of traffic. And so we'll make sure to have that. And then probably try to figure a couple more sources to send invites to bring people.
That was my question, is how will you announce that to the public, that those positions are open?
That's kind of the couple ways that we can do it. The
Okay.
commission's process is one of those that we're kind of actually fine tuning in some cases because it had been kind of a pell-mell,
Right.
let's go. And Mayor McGriff has clarified with staff to make sure that we kind of solidify that so that it helps people understand, hey, there's kind of a timeline, we need to get going.
And we're all, especially me, we're still learning all the regulations. Would it be okay if I posted that in the Three Rivers Artists Guild newsletter, if I gave that to the
Just beat me
newsletter?
to it because that was one of those
Oh, okay.
those potential areas, and I was going to
So
talk to you
that's okay.
offline.
All right.
Trieste, I would suggest that you wait for or at least get something that's more official that you can post and, because I know that I talked to Jacob, it's supposed to be going into Trail News, it's supposed to be going into, the e-blast, Trail News, supposed to be on the website that we have. There's a whole list. It's not just Arts Commission that's coming up. I got a whole list of different boards and commissions that are coming due. It's just like, oh my God, okay.
Okay,
Maybe Daniel could write something up very briefly, and then it would be on city letterhead, so it gets posted, or city logo, or something gets posted out, so it's coming from an official source.
sure. Yeah, because even any information on what
Watch
they,
this space, the Three Rivers, maybe watch this space, there'll be, if you were interested, please watch this space, call Daniel, blah, blah, blah.
and would you have in the announcement what they have to prepare for their interview, or would
Yeah,
that
so
be?
I think there's an actual description that's already done. I just need to put it into something that's a little easier to transport to people, so.
Okay. So I'll wait on you.
There's
Go ahead.
Yeah, your list of who's on it, what positions they represent, that sort of thing, that'd probably be helpful for somebody who's new. You definitely have to refer them to the website, the Arts Commission.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yeah. Is it possible to send an email directly to the people that applied to be on the commission previously that were interested but weren't able to participate due to limited options? Limited seats.
If I can find that list I wasn't here when that listing was created, but I can definitely look into that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the newsletter for TRAG goes out on the 1st and the 15th of every month, so we have some time. I'll stay in touch with you about what the announcement should be.
I will try to get that done as soon as possible.
And anyone here at the time with the 1 year, are you planning on extending it, or have you decided to? Do we know that yet?
Are we allowed to ask them that? on the
Yeah, are we
spot?
allowed to ask
Maybe
them?
don't
Well, I
put
was
them on
thinking
the-
it would be more of a polite thing to do, is to actually just do it offline and have
Okay,
the conversation
that's fine.
rather
I
than.
agree. Nobody has
Yeah.
to decide right this minute.
Thank you. Any other questions on the process for new art commissioners? Take some time to take one more look at the staff report on it.
I will say I'm not worried. I will say I'm not worried. I feel like we're gonna find people, and I think we'll be all right.
I would like to make a comment just in reference to it. I've talked to a lot of art commissions in our area over the past year. Almost every one of them who have really gained momentum said it takes 1 to 5 years for an art commission to find their feet and to work with their city, and don't lose hope. that it does come around. And as things progress and you get your city's support, things will start to come together. And I feel we're starting to find our feet, and I feel good about that.
Next item?
Next item? Okay, next item, is the replacement of the art on Center and 7th. Thank you so much, Dan, for putting this together for us.
You're welcome. If I may, the artwork located on the 7th and Center Street was damaged by an out-of-control motor vehicle, resulting in the destruction of the artwork. It's in multiple pieces. The damaged artwork was insured and resulting in a payout to the city for $5,400. The Arts Commission is being asked by the city to help with the replacement of the artwork by identifying and engaging an artist to create a new art sculpture. Key part of this is that I have never done a call to artists before, but yet I believe that many of you have done that. Mayor McGriff?
It was my understanding from the city that we were gonna get the artist to replace it. Because
Yeah,
apparently I
it's-
understand that, I think it's a he can do it. Everybody in the neighborhood, because it's closest to my house, by the way, everybody loves that art piece.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the
People together, so is that something you would consider rather than getting something new?
Unfortunately, the woman who originally did the sculpture lives out of the country and is not available to redo the artwork. We reached out from the staff side to be able to contact her, and she was only here for a short amount of time, and we had not sorted out all the insurance element of it at the time she was here.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that's what John Lewis told me that. He said, we're gonna get it replaced. I said, perfect, because everybody loved it.
Yeah.
Does she
And it was
have
something
any
that fit in with the corridor project and the historic neighborhood. So,
Does she have
all right,
any
well, that's
work
sad.
available? Does she have any work available that's on the market here?
All of her work is in the foreign country now. So, yes. So, I was asked and said, the Arts Commission would be the greatest people in the world to be able to help decide what to replace it with.
We're good. That's what we're here for.
Go ahead, Mary.
There's a piece
Commissioner
of that
Wilson?
we could steal because I really like it.
Okay.
I know they wouldn't like it though, but it's pretty awesome.
Thank you. Commissioner Wilson?
Well, I think that's a place that we could start with talking to the people that were closest to that sculpture, and then asking them, like you're saying, Denise, what did you like about it? And we could use that as our starting off point of what do we want to do next. And maybe it was the way it made you feel, maybe it was the shape, maybe whatever that answer is, we can build on that and then build our call for art based on what it is that we appreciated about that piece to both commemorate it, but then also bring something back to the community that will take its
So
place.
Emma, we have a neighborhood meeting coming up in about another week and a half, and I could make that request under my, I have a section on the agenda, so that I could make that request on that agenda, if that would be helpful to you all.
That would be amazing. Yeah. Would it be possible to send a representative or make a statement somehow to us to be able to convey the information that you
Does
gathered?
anybody in the commission live in the Mahoney neighborhood?
Yeah, I could go.
You'll get the notice.
Yeah.
So when you get the postcard, just plan on attending that.
Is that
It's
the-
the 3rd of November.
Right, yeah, the first Thursday, okay. I mean, I think it was
So you'll get that, just come to the meeting.
Denise, I mean, don't you think it was an embrace? And the form was very,
Yes, it was two people
Yeah.
embracing kind of thing. It was pretty amazing.
yeah.
Staff report is calling for two commissioners to lead it up, and Commissioner Wilson and Commissioner Lugo, would you like to do that? Would you like to be those two people for two? And say no if you don't have the time, but
I mean,
just
I
wanted to
can
put
go
that
to
out
the
there.
McLaughlin, that's my neighborhood association, so.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll let the chair know that we're gonna add that to my agenda item.
I think, I'm gonna say maybe yes, probably, but it will be a long-term project. So whoever decides to work on it potentially with me needs to know, I need to know they're gonna be here for the next year. So,
We'll do a call for artists, so that'll be cool.
I would be happy to work on that with you, Tammy Jo, so.
that would be so cool, thank you.
Wonderful.
There we go.
Any other questions or comments for that? I think we made some good headway on that. Anyone else? Okay, moving on. On the agenda is the review of the art survey.
I'm going to pull up a screen here in a second. I gotta close this presentation.
Oh, is this our final approval of it?
Yeah.
If I knew that, I would have talked faster so we could get here.
I'm gonna share my screen.
Otherwise,
Oh my God.
it seems like weird for me to go.
So everyone can see it on the screen as well. There we go. So there's two parts to this survey. The first part, of course, is the online part, which is been printed and got through all of the chaos that is called elections and is prepped and ready to go into the next billing. The questions the QR code for that survey will link directly to this page. And then as we go through the screen, you will see these wonderful fun features of, hey, which out of 1 through 5, which one of the stars do you want to do? I thought that was very fun and entertaining. It was really the only choice I had. So either that or a number. And I thought this was a nice way to do 1 through 5. I did make this multiple pages because I felt like the questions are kind of tied with this 1 through 5 starter part. It kind of was really big, and so I was like, ooh, making this one giant page would have been, it was actually quite ugly. So I've added other features, so if they have any other comments. And then this one is reorder as you like it, so you can shift it around.
This is wonderful.
And it automatically reorganizes it. And when it submits, I get the order that they put it in. So
Right.
for each one of those. And then this one was a scale of 1 to 5. How important was a art center to the Oregon City community?
Clackamas County Research, what?
Everybody wants the art center. I know, find the money.
And then we also have the 1 through 5 for this question related to how art, or how you feel about the arts as they play in that. And last but not least, a full open-ended comment, no restrictions, can talk forever and ever if they want to. We'll have to just parse
Read
that
it.
together in the final report.
Just read it.
And then they submit.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
That's beautiful, Daniel, thank you.
Very nice.
Now, unfortunately, a printed version isn't as cool and spiffy as that, so I did
But we
include
do have
in
a
your
coloring
packet
page.
the
Right.
actual survey. I did have to compress it a little bit, make sure that it was like changing fonts, so I really wanted it to be one page so that we could then, on the backside, have the color page from the art piece. We have a smaller version on the actual print piece that went out into the mail, but it's exactly the same as this. It's the herons from the art piece as well as the picture. So,
How many copies of the printed?
we are going to go to a press for 1,000 and distribute them to the senior center, city hall, the library. There was one other location. My mind just slipped. I have it written down on a notepad at my desk. And then there'll be some available for you to hand out as you see fit.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yes,
can
please.
imagine 1,000.
The demographic of that selection was similar.
Yeah, we feel that there's going to, because Commissioner Woodward mentioned that she has opted to do her bill electronically. They don't generally get it. So we have a pretty good rapport with Craig Danielson at the retail centers out there, so we could probably have that distributed out to some of those locations as well. But those are, retailers are a little harder to have placements, but like Soul Flags would be a good one because it's Soul Flags, the Stephen Crawford House, the EOT, the Moot. The only problem with EOT is that EOT really focuses on people that are outside of the area. So their participation is a little.
What about Fred Meyer's?
I'm willing to go and ask. I was trying to think of all the different places we could put it, but that they'd be willing to put it, so.
I mean, that seems like the logical place.
I had a little-
If you have 1,000 copies, might as
Yeah.
well. I don't know if they have a place for stuff like that.
And if we need more, well, I'll print more if we need to, but I created, I worked with Buell's to be able to create a kind of a cool little pocket so that we could have it on just a basic paper board so that they could just hang it, or if I'll bring double-sided tape with me as I go there and they can put it up there.
Yeah, I'm thinking of places like corner 14 too, where there's
That's
just like
exactly what I was
a
talking
lot of
about.
people
Yeah.
that are just chilling.
Yeah.
Just children.
People in the 20 to 45,
Yeah.
50 age, as opposed to the senior in the library, to kind of balance that.
Will it be possible to distribute that electronically to different organizations that have newsletters?
Yes, we could. I mean, I'll just send the one side version of it that I created with the QR code and then ask them. Oh, yes, and the Clackamas County Arts Alliance will definitely get a copy of it.
Good thing Diane is here.
Denise has her hand up maybe, or did she leave it up?
Oh, I think she
it's been
may have,
stated.
yeah, I think it was.
To go
And then
to
Mary
the
said thank you.
meeting.
You're welcome, Mary.
And what's the date one more time, Dan? I know you've said before for when it'll be distributed in the news, in the.
Next week.
Next
So
week.
the way the process goes for distributing these things in the middle of an election period is a little trickier to set a time. They just said within this week period, so it's that's why I wanted to make sure if there was any final changes to any of the questions, they really need to have it done in the next probably 24 hours so that I can get it done before we go into the weekend, because who knows if it's going to get delivered at that time.
And if you have it all ready to go, I'm going to put some things together for the TRAG newsletter for the 1st, if you want to send it over when you have a chance.
I can send it.
And I'll include that in the newsletter. I already notified everybody in another newsletter, look for your utility bill in November for a questionnaire.
I will send it to all the commissioners so that if anyone feels that, oh, wait a minute, I know a group of people who can
Great.
send it to,
Great,
please do.
Okay, any other questions regarding the distribution, the questionnaire? One more time, thank you so much. Amazing job.
Thank you.
All about the electronic thing.
And I think that was the last item on our agenda. And one of my favorite things to do is round robin as we go around to bring anything up that you'd like everybody to know, or a little bit about what you're doing for your art. So we will start with Commissioner, I've lost my brain.
It's okay.
Jen Woodward, Commissioner Woodward.
Yeah, I don't have any news updates this week or month.
How did your textile show go?
Good.
Good.
Yeah. Had an open house out in Colton. There will be another open house on November 5th, I guess, so that's another update at Camp Colton. So folks that want to come check out the camp and see some paper making and letterpress printing happening out there with some artists are welcome to come. There's information, campcolton.com.
Great. Commissioner Lugo?
I mean, I was recently, like, I can't remember how it happened, but I'm the interim president of KBOO right now. So that's like taking
Congratulations.
all of my time, just all of my time. If you listen to community radio, I hope you'll
Yeah.
consider maybe supporting KBOO.
Jane Manley's a good
It's a
friend of
great radio station. I'm showing with the Oregon Regional Artists. In December, we're going to be showing up at the Sandy Space Commons up on Sandy Boulevard in Portland, so come check out my work there if you'd like.
Commissioner Mary Andrews and myself worked together with some other commissioners, I think Karen Burig, Tima Carlson, and it was for the Archbridge celebration for the mural. It could not have gone any better.
Yeah,
It
that was
was
so much fun.
amazing and came out so beautiful. Yes, thanks for your volunteer to Commissioner Lugo. Great fun. We're in the middle of the artists are just finishing it up. It'll be coming to my house for sealing and for my husband to put some attachments on the back, and it'll be headed out to the library by November 15th. So I'll let everybody know. So it was just an amazing project and really fun. Yeah, and I
Can I
just,
ask a question about
Yes.
that? So it's going to be on display at the library? Is that
will.
correct?
The room above where the elevators are, it'll be displayed. There's just about 12 feet there that it can, like the perfect place for it. And we've met with Greg Williams a couple of times, the director of the library, and their staff will be putting it up. And then it will be going to the West Lynn Library. And then I talked to Stacia at the event. She's going to look into bringing it to the Museum of the Grand Ronde. And so that'll be probably a year of travel that the mural will go around. So we're excited
Mayor
about
says
that.
we need to make a poster of it.
Say that
So,
again?
The mayor in the chat said we should make a poster of
Yeah.
the three-piece panel to sell.
Yeah, for sure. Once we get it all put together, sealed and beautiful and perfect, take some really good pictures of it. Maybe even have somebody professionally take a good picture over at the library.
And t-shirts. T-shirts.
The poster
Fundraiser.
having all the signatures of the artist underneath what the title of it is. I mean, I have it set already looking in my head. It just, and with the bridge logo on it, it could look awesome. We could make lots of money.
Absolutely, and we could like finance an art cultural center. You could do it. Okay, I think that's it. I also got a commission for a portrait, just so I finally started painting on my own again, and I don't know why I don't do this all the time. I love just doing my own personal art, so it's great fun. Commissioner Wilson.
Thank you. So I will start with my Oregon City news. So make sure, I think hopefully the paper is still out, but the Mary Elizabeth Gallery, L. Stephen Crawford Gallery from Art in Oregon was on the cover of the paper, our ghost show. Very beautiful picture. So if you haven't seen it, look for a paper copy. Otherwise, I'm sure you can see it online. It was also in the Portland Tribune online. So check out that article with some interview questions from the artists. Other news for me, let's see.
When is the ghost exhibit? How long
It
is
is,
it there?
it's gonna be up through the end of the month, so it will be open on Halloween from 4 to 7. That'll be the last day. I'll be there for a little while in costume. Hopefully there'll be candy, but I recommend coming on Halloween
And the
to stop by.
30th, 31st, or?
Yeah, Halloween's a Monday, so it'll be open Friday from 10 to 4, Saturday 10 to 4, and then on Halloween from 4 to 7.
Okay.
I just posted it. Halloween with the Stevens.
Yeah, you gotta come see.
All I think of is
It's a really fun show. It's very colorful.
I just have to say that I went to the exhibit before that. Can't remember, Kelsey was your.
Yes.
What an amazing exhibit. But the other artist had just brought in a piece for the ghost.
Yeah, that's the one that's on the
Blew
cover of the
me
paper.
away.
Yep.
Life size
Yeah.
of this amazing painting.
Yeah, we were so lucky to have him and to be able to fit that giant painting in a very modest gallery, I have to say. But yeah, it's worth
I'm
checking
glad you're
out.
getting so publicity because I'd like to just see that just out there. The Stephen Crawford House Art Gallery is just
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Let's see. Other news, I recently took on the position of Director of Bush House Museum Exhibits and Programming, and I'll have my first exhibit of 2 women light installation artists down at Bush House in Salem starting this November, so come check that out. It'll be contemporary light art in a historic house, which for us folks in Oregon City that appreciate our historic houses, it's worth a look. So I'm learning a lot from working in that and bringing and sharing the knowledge of Oregon City and what I'm learning at that historic house down there too. So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, can you talk about the call for art that you have going on right now too?
Oh, yes, thank you for bringing that up. So Art in Oregon does have a call for art right now for our holiday show at the Mary Elizabeth Gallery where the Ghost Show is. We're specifically looking for small works, no theme other than that. Yeah, bring us the little stuff. So just go to our website to see the call, or it's call at Art in Oregon to email your artwork. Yeah. Deadline is November 4th, I believe.
Commissioner Andrews?
Yeah, thank you. I guess I too echo the cheers for the Art in Oregon cover page. That was pretty awesome. And the experience of working with everyone on that mural project was really, really meaningful, and it was such a joy to be able to facilitate art making with the community on the bridge and really engage with people as they came across and added to the mural. That was just probably one of the most meaningful art collaborative projects I've done in a long time. So it meant a lot to be a part of that. And at Lewis and Clark, I've got a yarn bomb going on where we're inviting people to add a collaborative yarn piece that represents a social justice topic that's important to them. And if you want to add to the yarn bomb, we're taking additional pieces. And I'll be presenting my research at a conference with 2 students next month in Minneapolis, talking about using artistic activism. And I'm excited to be able to co-present with the students. And yeah, I think that's all on my end.
Thank you. Commissioner Carlson?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I appreciate the flexibility today, parent-teacher conferences at the high school, and my need is to speak with some of the teachers. Today I went to an amazing gallery in Vancouver that has Portland artists. It's Art in the Cave, and it is special for October. It's called Oddtober, and it is large and small, creations, very sci-fi, macabre style. It's amazing. I love Labyrinth defines me, and that was the type of art that was there. It's free to visit, and it's going on till October 29th. For Soul Flag, we are working on currently setting up our art center for Haunted House. We received a truckload of animatronic Halloween decorations, and we'll be doing that for 2 weekends in a row as a fundraiser for the art center. Personally, I took a big exam 2 weeks ago for State of Oregon registered geologist. I find out in 60 days how I did, and we'll be taking it again if I didn't pass.
Good luck. Yeah. And I did forget one more announcement I wanted to make. We are finally doing a celebration presentation of the mural from Brian Crable on the corner of 99 on the White Rabbit Cafe. So we're pretty excited about that. I'm sure Brian will be doing a ceremony, and we'll just be presenting it and kind of a tribute to White Rabbit and Brian for that beautiful mural. So a final presentation of that. Took us a long time between everybody's schedules and the weather, but I'm glad to be able to do it. And it's at 11 o'clock, October 29th, same day as the Fall Festival. We did a little early before all of the other events start. So it'll be a short ceremony, short presentation. Come down if you can. There'll be commemorative stickers given out for free.
So Oregon City is hopping right now because we have inadvertently created an event for the first week of December It just happens to be the time when we do the traditional tree lighting, and they're going to be Santa, but it also turned out that that's the same weekend that they're doing at the Pioneer Center as the Three Rivers Artists Guild is doing their holiday art show. And then the Oregon City Heritage Coordinating Committee is working on getting all of the homes open that weekend in hopes that they can have people there in holiday period garb. And so this turns into something where I am now going to be able to take those 3 events, and then I'll post all 3 of the events on the website separately, and then I'll put one big event that I can then use for all my social media stuff. And I'm super excited about having a big holiday event in the middle of that. I'm a big Christmas guy, so super excited about that one. And then also too, I am heading down to Ashland on Sunday to participate in the OTTA, which is the Oregon Travel and Tourism Association. These are people who put together itineraries for out-of-country visitors. So even though a lot of their client is Canadian, and they generally like to drive from Canada down to the Woodburn outlets, but they want to turn it into, they always try to add additional things to make it more entertaining for them. And so this will be the first time where Oregon City will have some representation there, and I get to talk about the food, the wine, the drinking, I mean the breweries, the distilleries. I'm so sorry, that totally went wrong. And then I also can talk about our art. I can talk about things that any of the historic sites and help them shape several examples of itineraries. So they might, it's kind of like a round robin saying, hey, do you guys have this that you want to add to it? And I can throw in something from Oregon City, and then it's a great way for us to get some more larger international travel. So super excited about this.
Cool, thank you.
Exciting. I think also tell me if this is the right process, but I know that we have to bring things up at one meeting for future agendas.
Yes.
So there's a couple things. Some of the condition of the murals around town are pretty poor. And I'd like at some point to get it onto the agenda of what murals need to be restored so that we can possibly start making a plan for restoring those and how to find funding for that.
I think we should bring up the question with that too, because if these murals are on private property, that it would be private property.
Okay.
And how to negotiate that.
Well, in some cases, some of the murals are probably still within the easement period, so that they were granted an X amount of period of time. They have to be basically city property.
Okay.
And so if they're still within that, it's in our purview then to do that. But you're right, we would need to, any private murals would need to be addressed on a private level.
And then would that be something that staff would do for us? Go through do some research on the murals and what has to be restored? Is that
For
something
the easement I think would have to be figured out first, whether it's.
I have to find out first what pieces that we have. So for example, the piece that we're replacing, we had, an easement on it. And so it's for us to replace that piece then. I think there's several other pieces, some of them have just weathered wrong, a part of it fell off, and so they had to dismantle the piece at Liberty Square? Is that right behind the courthouse down there? There was a piece there that they had to remove
missing on
there.
that one, right.
So we just need to get there's a master map that the GIS department has put together for us, and then I can find out what we still have
That would be great, thank you.
And then when we first restored the trolley car mural, I had asked the city economic and development assistant, Matthew at the time, if we could put a plaque there, because there's a plaque there now for the original. He said he was going to take it to the city, but that was kind of where it was left. So we'd like to put on the agenda is possible plaques as murals go up or are restored. And what we're doing for these two murals, the restoration, the new one, is we had some money for an administrative fee through the Metro grant that we're using to be able, through TRAG, to be able to pay for those. So that will come out of the TRAG fund and out of the Metro fund. But in the future, to talk about as murals get restored or new murals to have plaques. And just even that's a city thing, if that should be a part of the grant or the process for that.
What kind of plaque? Like a plaque in the ground, like the historic house plaques?
It's probably 10 by 7 high, 10 inches wide. And it says the name of the mural, the art by the artist, and then it's who commissioned it or sponsored it, which these two murals would have been commissioned by the Three Rivers Artists Guild, sponsored by the Metro Enhancement Grant. So it just gives honor to the artist and.
Kind of the wall label for a mural, but yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's only so big.
Cool.
And then one last thing, just as we're having speakers come up, I'd love to have the Art Council of Lake Oswego does some really wonderful projects for fundraisers. I think they just finished a fundraiser with Adirondack chairs that were given to different artists.
That was
and
nice.
they did it. So
Actually, I think they were regular chairs, but yes.
yeah,
I
have them
saw
come
that.
in
That was very cool.
and talk about how active they are and how their process is for the active events. It'd be helpful. And I know Commissioner Bjork on the last meeting mentioned somebody for November. I don't remember what that name was, but.
I'm gonna have to probably remind everyone that that's also gonna be the interview one, so we may,
okay, so we'll
we may
put that.
have, that might be a rather complicated meeting if we have many candidates.
I would love to be able to honor that with Commissioner Bjork, because I think she talked about that before.
I can reach out to her and ask.
That's all I have. Anybody else have anything that they'd like to put on a future agenda? Anything for the order of the night?
So one item that is on the list from the last two meetings ago, it was we need to probably figure out what kind of grants. So that'll probably be a January discussion as we go into it. If things fall the way they're going to fall, we may not have really that much to talk about on the December one. So we might want to consider after the November meeting, decide if we want to still have that meeting and then just wait for the data from the survey, or I can just publish a report that can be distributed out to everyone, totally up to whatever direction you guys want to go on that.
That sounds like a good recommendation because, it's December, so.
Anything else? So there being no further business to come before the board, this meeting is adjourned, 8:30.